A reading from the book of Deuteronomy. Now listen. Today I am giving you a choice between life and death, between prosperity and disaster. For I command you this day to love the Lord your God and to keep his commands, decrees, and regulations by walking in his ways. If you do this, you will live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are about to enter and occupy. But if your heart turns away and you refuse to listen, and if you are drawn away to serve and worship other gods, then I warn you now that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live a long, good life in the land you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. Today, I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessing and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life, so that you and your descendants might live. The word of the Lord. Glory to Jesus Christ for all things. I am Father Kenneth Tanner, pastor of Church of the Holy Redeemer in Rochester Hills, Michigan. We are an Anglican congregation that stands in solidarity with our Catholic brothers and sisters, but all Christians and peoples of faith against this unconstitutional mandate. And you guys look beautiful out there. It's great to see so many faces, and the faces of the young people here today and the little ones, this culture of life that we want to promote. First, we give thanks to God for Professor Miller and everyone who works tirelessly to give voice to the innocent little ones, and to encourage a culture of life in Michigan and America. Monica and countless others deserve our prayers, respect, and support. They are the ones whose steadfast commitment to the unborn and their mothers is an unceasing prayer, which we join whenever and wherever we can. It is their daily sacrifice that makes it possible for us to live the abundant life for which they tirelessly labor. So thank you, Monica, and everybody else. The free exercise of religion provided by our Constitution protects not only our freedom to worship, as our conscience dictates, to worship whomever we choose to worship, wherever we choose to worship, but this first freedom, this First Amendment, secures our right to live our faith daily in all the ways our faith impacts our life in the world, without interference from the state. It's not just about worship in the sense of gathering, but every aspect of our life. I'm not here today in opposition to a political candidate or party. I am not opposed to helping the uninsured or to providing quality health care for those who are without it. I am here because of the mandate in the Affordable Care Act that violates our religious liberty by forcing Christians and other peoples of faith to participate in what our conscience will not allow us to participate. If we are silent, if we as Christian leaders do not stand up, we send an uncertain message to our flocks and to the world around us. If we cannot end the enforcement of this unconstitutional mandate in the courts, we must respectfully refuse to obey the law by every legal means. We must send a clear message. Drugs that induce embryonic death, that take the life of the innocent, cannot be purchased with our money or with our silent consent. The Vice President misled the American people last week. The law as presently interpreted by the Obama administration makes our churches, hospitals, schools, and charitable institutions participants in the culture of death by mandating we support an idea of sex and reproduction that is contrary to revealed love. By forcing us to pay for their culture of death and lending a hand to their impoverished view of human sexuality. And make no mistake, a government that makes all of us unwilling participants in the purchase of contraceptives and sterilizations is only one step away from forcing us to use contraceptions and to be sterilized ourselves, to comply with a perverted view of sex and children and of what life together in a society means. We're just one step away. We must stand up boldly in opposition, not to flesh and blood, but in opposition to spiritual forces of wickedness. This means working within the political process and in the courts to ensure our liberties, to write and speak out and peacefully and prayerfully protest, and above all, to pray. But it must also and might also require us to suffer with Jesus for the innocent and for life. We do not put our trust in princes or elected officials, but in the Lord of history. Of all that is seen and unseen, Jesus Christ alone is our salvation. I'm a deep believer that every celebrated Eucharist has immense power to change the world. Far more than any executive decision, act of Congress, or ruling of the Supreme Court. More happens in the world and in our lives when we exalt Jesus Christ together at his table, when we celebrate the Eucharist, than any other activity of men. This may not be readily apparent. Its effects not immediately known, but it is nevertheless real. This is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith. And whenever we celebrate it together, we proclaim Christ's death until he comes again. Being pro-life is not only about these kinds of events where we're gathering today, but about a Eucharistic living of our life and worship among those who are sitting in darkness and in the shadow of death. We must stand up and with Jesus Christ bring them life.